Are you a home buyer or home seller in Ayden, North Carolina?
We love doing these videos for you, telling about what is really happening in our neighborhood, because not everything that you see on the national news is going to affect us here in Ayden. And so we like to give you what is really, really happening, with the real numbers happening in our market.
Exactly.
Now, before we get into our data, I also want to say we are filming this in December of 2023, so we are very excited to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I love seeing homes in the area all decorated for the holidays, and it's super beautiful. And I just want to say, I hope you're seeing the same things I am seeing, because it is a lovely time to be out.
Exactly. And saying that, we want to start with the inventory. How much of the house are in the market? And starting with the active homes in the market, we had 45 homes in just months of November that we just closed. And in October, we had 44, very close. And last year was 31 homes, which brings us to 45% increase from last year to this year for the active homes.
Which makes me wonder how much new construction is happening in Ayden. Let's
Exactly.
be honest. Now, with pending homes, this is going to give us a slightly different number. Pending is what happened under contract. So there was 12 homes under contract in Ayden in November.
Exactly.
If you compare it to the previous month, there was 13. The month before that, there was 11. So there was a 9% increase in pending homes. But if you compare it to last year, it's really just one house.
Exactly. And then for the sold homes, we had 9 homes sold in months of November, and months of October, actually, we had 16 homes sold. Therefore, we had way more. And in last year at this time, we had 13 homes sold, which brings us to 30% decrease from last year to this year.
Now, before you start wondering what is really happening, is this a buyer's market? Is it time to buy, time to sell? We're going to get all to that. But first, I think before we get into inventory rate, let's do our introduction. So let's hit it. Hi, it's Alan Victoria. Welcome to our channel and podcast.
And if this is your first time in our podcast and YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and get notified.
Also, call text all the time at 252-327-3357. We love talking to you. Do not be shy. Also, don't forget our buyer's guide and seller's guide in the description below. Now, with
Exactly.
that, let's talk about inventory rate.
Exactly. The inventory rate, which is how we can basically understand the inventory
So it's
rate.
basically math. So we look at all of the active homes, which was 45, plus all the ones under contract, which was 12, and then we get a 57, which was this number, and then we divide it by the homes sold. So our homes sold for this month was 9, which is really low. And that gives us, is it a buyer's market, is it a seller's market? Because anything over 6 months is technically a buyer's market, but we're going to really talk about that because that's something we need to talk about.
Therefore, we got, based on this calculation, we got 6.33 months of supply.
So if you're a
which we are
buyer,
in the
woohoo!
threshold.
Right, but we're going to deal
We
more
are
into
starting,
detail with that.
and then in months of October, this number was looking at 3.56 months of supply, and last year at this time we were looking at 3.23%. Therefore, we are way more houses inventory that we had last
And
year.
before you start throwing the confetti, wondering, is it now it's time to buy in Ayden, we're going to break down those numbers a little bit more for you. But before we get into that, let's look at days on market as well. Compared to last year, they are sitting on that market much longer. There was 103 days on market. Last month at this time, it was only 57. And then the year before this, just to give you a comparison, was 18 days. So, 18 to 103 is a lot.
Therefore, this tells you that a lot of it is a new construction, only
Right.
107 days in the market. And then the important factors also is the lease price and the sold price. And what is the difference and how we can looking at these numbers?
Now, also, when we're looking at finding the middle number on a spreadsheet is not the same house. So 123 Main Street did not list for this number, and then when I get to the median sale price, sell for that number. It's not the same house. It's a different house because it's a different data point.
Exactly.
So I just want to point out we are not talking about how much discount people are getting on homes, which apparently somebody thought, which is why I'm putting that out there. So
Exactly.
the median list price in November was $310,000.
And the last month before in October was $293,615. A year before at this time was $285,990, which we have the increase of 8.4% in the listing price.
Now for the sales data, it is a little different. So it's 287,630 for sales data. Again, it's not the same house that was listed for 310. So don't think somebody got $30,000 off.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, for median sales data for the month before that, it was 251,250. The year before that was 175,000. So you can see sales data increased by 64%. Now let's talk about that down and dirty number of how much we can sell that house for.
Ayden.
In Ayden. Yeah.
Therefore, the Ayden has all single family home. There is no condo or townhouse that, at least at the time of this video, they are building. And these prices actually increased from the last months. And I can say for all brand new homes, which is our single family, we're looking at $200 per square feet.
And now for single family owned, pre-owned, if your, a house is 20, 30 years old, even 10, we're looking at more $153 a square foot. This is just a down and dirty number. It doesn't take in the value of actually your home. We'd have to actually be invited to your home to tell you that. Now, let's talk about breaking down that data a little bit more, because we told you it was 6 months of supply, right?
Yes.
But if we break that data into more, we can see that 4.6 months of supply was new construction.
New construction, exactly.
Whereas previously owned was 1.2. So there's a huge number difference of what is going on here when we break it down by new versus pre-owned. The month before that was 5.2. So you can see the new construction actually decreased by 11%.
Also what they call it,
the inventory.
The inventory for the pre-owned home actually was higher in months of October. We had 1.7 months of inventory in Ayden, which this month that we just passed had 1.2 months.
Now, let's talk about mean home value, which is how much homes are worth in Ayden at the filming of this video.
Which is weighted average over those spectrum, the house of the low price, 100 or under 100,000 to all the way to $1 million home. And that how much was that number was?
188.09, which compared to the month before that was 181,118, but compared to the year before that was 165,657, which means the year over year change was a 10.9% change, which is a lot of appreciation.
Yes,
to be
therefore
honest.
Ayden so far for all the video that we made for the housing market has the highest appreciation, 10.9%. And
but what's interesting for rental market though was how much Ayden is the lowest number for rent.
Yes, and the rent actually was ranged between $750, for median.
Right, which is really low compared to every other video we filmed.
And
this
it was
month.
last month was $1,000.
So you can see it decreased. So I guess the deals are in Ayden if you're looking for a rental. So here's the thing: if you're a home buyer, when you're saying, hey, what is going on? I want to live in Ayden. I want to tell you a couple of things. The time to buy is the time you can buy on your schedule. We have to get pre-approved. We have to know how much you can actually afford to buy a home. And you have to look at really your motivations on why you're buying a home, not the national news. Why are you buying a home? Because when we bought our first home, it wasn't because, it made financial sense to buy a home. That wasn't thinking for us.
It never made sense. Yeah.
It was because it wouldn't have made sense financially. But we did it because we wanted to raise our kids in a way that we had not been raised our own selves. We did it for our own reasons that way.
Exactly.
Now, what about for you? It's
exactly.
Home sellers.
And now looking at the home seller, of course, as we said, we had appreciation 10.9%. Inventory got better from this, which is going to be in favor of the home buyers, but it's still the house are appreciating. And also mentioning that we had just 1.2 months of the supply for pre-owned home, which makes sense that we have less pre-owned home and more brand new construction in the market. Saying that, you need to be very careful about how you price your home, respect to the brand new homes, that make sure you get the top dollar, and also make sure you take an action, you do your due diligence, all the unfinished project that need to be done to house seems immaculate in the market needs to be done, decluttering, staging our house, and also, most importantly, price it correctly.
Right, well, we're happy to talk to you about what we think your home is worth. Please don't be hesitating. Call us for any reason at 252-327-3357.
And don't forget to also subscribe in our podcast and YouTube channel and leave us a comment. We love to hear your voice and your insight. See you in next podcast and next video.